Good morning, Agape. How are we doing on this Sunday morning? Let's go. Awesome. Well, my name is Brian Lewis. I have the honor and privilege of being with you all today. I will tell you this, though. It didn't start that way. I'll get back. I'm the head football coach here in Howell. I'm a PE teacher. Thank you. PE teacher in Howell, community member. My wife and I were 3 years into our house here in Howell, and we love every second of it. So just really blessed, grateful to be here today to talk with you. Like I said, when Brad asked me to come talk with you today, my initial response was, no, not really something I want to do, not something I'm totally comfortable with, not something in my wheelhouse. But like I try and tell our kids, like I try and tell our team, man, you got to bust out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you got to challenge yourself. You got to do something that you don't really want to do in order to grow. So this is a growth moment for me. So I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you for listening, and let's get to it. So Brad told me that he wanted this to be as close to a Howell football team meeting, as close to a Howell football deal as we can possibly get it. So every day when I walk in to the team meeting room, I say, "Hello, guys," and they say, "All right, yes, we're good. So we're gonna do this again." So I'm gonna walk in, right? We're gonna get set, and I just think, in football, we always go off of cues. We always go say, "Hey," right? We always go off of cues and whatnot. But what it really does is, I think it centers us. It gets us back to where we want to be. Gets our mind focused, ready to rock and roll. We're here. We're present. So, good morning, Agape. Awesome. Good. So our goals today, a couple of things. We're going to get through who I am a little bit so you get to know me on a deeper level. We're going to talk about our 4 pillars, our pillars that have made the Howell football program what it is today. We're going to talk about building up teams and how we do that from the year to year. And hopefully the last thing is we walk away feeling a little bit inspired, a little bit excited to go on and attack this next. So, my family. So the picture here we are. This is us. Obviously, I'm the football coach here, like I said. Most importantly, though, the middle, my family, my wife, Teddy, going on 12 years of marriage. Huh? Come on. 12 years of marriage. She's amazing. She's our rock. She allows us to coach. She allows us to be here. She allows us to pour into our kids, like the football kids on the day-to-day, and she just is a rock star. So grateful for her. Evelyn, 9 years old. That's our eclectic one. Arts, music, dancing, sports, you name it, she's got it. She's got spunk. She's got charisma. Abraham, he's 7. That's our guy. That's our boy. He's rough and tumble. He climbs on things he shouldn't be climbing on, struggles listening. But I will say, very, very, for all the dads out there, happy Father's Day again. But, very excited the last year, the growth and development he's taken on, being more interested in sport. So we get to play catch, I get to throw pitches, we get to do all this stuff, and I love doing that stuff. So super pumped about his growth and development. And then we have Sunny, who's 3, who is Sunny. That's what she is. She's awesome. The other 2 beat up on her, but she's just lovey-dovey, smiling, all those good things, and that's our Sunny girl. My dad, Mike, is here. My mom, Lisa, extremely influential in our life, extremely, obviously, influential in my life. Happy Father's Day to my dad, but wouldn't be able to do this or have this base of knowledge without my dad. My dad's a Hall of Fame coach. I grew up on the sideline. I grew up as long as I can remember. I was around teams and building teams and around being at camps and doing the thing. So thank you, Dad, for that. And then most importantly, thank you to our Howell football community, our families, our staff. We do life with this staff. My family is doing life with these people, and it's really amazing. I love them. That our staff is very uncommon, it's very unique for all of us to come together like we have and really bond. It's taken a number of years because in true relationship building, it's going to take time in order for this thing to really kind of come together. But these people, we are so grateful to have them impact our lives, just vice versa, right? True relationship, mutual. They're impacting our life on a great level. I mean, we're able to raise our kids together, come to church together. We go to the 9 o'clock service. We got our Howell football coaches sitting back there, and it's just a magical thing, and just so grateful for our community, our staff, and all of those things. Little bit, this is me now, growing up. I'm an East Side Detroit kid, so I grew up on Warren Sterling Heights border. I went to Warren De La Salle High School. But most importantly, a lot of the things that I have taken in my life come from experience, and we're going to talk about that here in a sec. But my family, I grew up in a Polish-Italian house. My grandpa was a 100% Italian guy. He was the last one out of Detroit. When we moved to Warren, he had his house. My grandpa from Italy built it, the whole gig, right? So he never wanted to give it up. We ended up moving to Warren. But man, we moved to Warren. It was a tight little kitchen in our family. It was me. I'd be up against the wall. My brother would be next to us, squeezed up against the wall. I have my 2 uncles over at the table. My grandma would be across. She'd have the salad on the counter on the other side. My 100% Italian grandpa, Mario, would be sitting here not saying much, just eating. And there was just chaos going on. My mom would be walking in from work. My dad sometimes would be walking in. It was as Italian as the movies say. It was as Italian, it was breaking bread as you would see it. Now, the good part for me is there's nowhere to hide in those families. So there's nowhere, like communication. At the dinner table, how was your day? Good. Don't cut it. I'll tell you that, okay? Good, don't cut it. They want to know what's going on. They want to know who your friends are. They want to dig deeper. You have to give real answers. They don't want to just hear surface answers. And I love that piece of things because that's kind of what our team has taken on, our staff has taken on. The way we talk to each other, the way we communicate to each other, the way we love each other is very familial, right? You could talk to each other, but you say something about the family, and those dukes come up. We could talk about each other a certain way, but you talk about us a certain way, we don't like that. That's not how that rolls. You want to be on? We're in. But talk about us, not for us, right? So I learned that way back when. Played football, basketball, and baseball at Warren De La Salle. And I'm going to talk about some experiences. It was life-changing experiences for me in that. Sport was obviously a great avenue for me to develop traits and characteristics that have been with me and pillars of my life as we go, so then we can hopefully help out others as we go. And then when we got done with LaSalle, went to the University of Michigan from 2007 to 2014. Listen, I played 3 sports at LaSalle. I got to the end, and I was like, okay, which one do I want to play in college? And I decided I wanted to go to the University of Michigan. There's a lot going on. I was really burnt out. I understand the 3-sport deal. I want people to play multiple sports. I get it, because I was one of them. Ended up going to the University of Michigan, came on as a student manager, started in 2007. My first practice was Rich Rod's first practice. So I walked in, Coach Carr, all the things everybody knows about Michigan. I walked into somebody trying to change all those things. So I got to see what that looked like. Coach Rodriguez ended up getting let go. Coach Hoke came on, kept me on. I was student teaching at that time. I was very lucky because the rest of Coach Rod's staff completely got let go. I was student teaching at that time, so Coach Hoke hired me. And then obviously we won a Sugar Bowl, had a lot of success. When we got let go with Coach Hoke, decided to get into high school. Got into high school in 2017, became the head coach at Father Gabriel Richard, 2018, 2019 at Plymouth High School. And then 2020, got the job here in Howell. So I'm going on my 10th year as a head coach in high school, which is crazy to say. I'm going on my 7th year as a head coach here in Howell, and we love it. We love it. This is our mission field. This is our calling. My wife and I pray this all the time. Dear Lord, please put us where we are supposed to be. Please put us where we are called to be, and we feel we are called to be in Howell. So we are very excited to be here. We're very excited to build people up in Howell, and we're very excited about our community that is Howell. Okay, so why am I here today? Really what I'm here to do is inspire and team build Agape City, okay? So obviously with our recent success in football, people are trying to peek under the hood. What's going on? So Brad again talked to me, said, Brad, what'd you like? He said, I want us to be inspired. I want us to team build a little bit, and we want to know how you do it. Okay, so we use football as a vehicle to build people up. That's really what football is. We build great people in Howell. I would say that all the time. We build the people up so when things happen, we're able to respond. We are not just focused on the outcome. We're not just focused on trophies. We want to build people up, and we want them prepared as we leave. The larger piece of this discipleship is we want to build people up to understand that we are made for something greater. That you are made to fit into a puzzle. You are made to fit into a certain big picture, especially within our program. Listen, I talk to the guys about this all the time. Your puzzle piece, if I got 500 pieces in this puzzle, your puzzle piece could look very similar to somebody else's. And anybody that's done a puzzle, sometimes you try and fit that one that's close, but just not all the way in, right? But you want to convince yourself that it's good, so you put it in, but it's not the perfect fit. Well, in a team, we need to make sure that we're chiseling out our puzzle piece, so when we see that open slot, we can go fit into that bigger picture in that puzzle. That's what we want for our team. That's what we want for our kids. And we want our team and our teammates and our kids to understand this. So Paul Chris told at a coaching clinic, Paul Chris, former Wisconsin coach, said this, and it made a lot of sense to me. One horse can pull 8,000 pounds. Two horses can pull 24,000 pounds. Two horses yoked together, working in unison, can pull 32,000 pounds. So what does that mean? That means us together is a heck of a lot stronger than us separated. Us together in unison, believing in similar things, going in a similar direction is when we are strongest. Just like we have learned in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 12. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. We are made as people to bond together for strength. We are made to bond together. A lot like our relationship with Jesus. A lot like our relationship with God. We are strongest when we are together. We are strongest when we are bonded. We are strongest when we believe in that bond. We can pull heavier weight when we are in unison, and that is the goal, and that is the point for our team, is to understand we got to find ways to contribute to this team. But you are made for something greater, which fits in to the larger puzzle, just like our relationship with God. So, we are strongest when we are bonded together. Okay, we are strongest when we are bonded together. So what defines us, or like what are we about, okay? What defines us is our experiences, and our experiences create the characteristics that lie within us to then form who we are, right? So what defines us is really our experiences define us. So over the course of time, I identified things that will lie within me to then hopefully be able to teach our guys and pass along a piece of me to our guys, so then they believe in something, and then we can get this ship rolling, and we can get this ball rolling. So the 4 pillars and the core values of our program, the 4 words: faith, family, discipline, and toughness. Okay, so gotta know myself before I can go help anybody else. Okay, I gotta know what I'm about. I gotta know what I'm into. I gotta know where I'm at before we can go influence and try and help other people. That just is what it is, right? These words are what I landed on. A lot of discernment, a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of thought process. These are the words, though, that through my experiences exemplify who I am. So faith, right? Where do we get this, or what's my experience with faith? So my senior year at Warren D. LaSalle in football, I didn't play quarterback my entire life. We go 4-5 my sophomore year, 4-5 my junior year. We decided to switch offenses. I go into the coach, the head coach, and I say, hey, I want a shot at quarterback. And he said, what? You never played quarterback your life? I said, yeah, I know. I want a shot at quarterback. If it's going to come down to it, I want it to be on these shoulders. Like, we want to do this thing, right? I ended up having a magical year, go to the state finals, play Muskegon in the state finals. Had a great game. Had an awesome game. I was my best when my best was required. And I can remember coming off the field after that game and people saying, unbelievable job, man, what great. You remember that? And we lost, but people were trying to build me up. And all I can remember is not remembering really anything I did. I couldn't remember my own self making a play. I couldn't remember my own self making the decision. It was a fully like Jesus took the wheel moment. I prayed a full year in advance. I prayed a full year in advance just for strength and confidence to be ready for that moment. Just to have because going into the year, what's everybody say with the new quarterback? No way. No way you're going to be any good. No way you're going to be able to do anything. No way you're going to be able to get this thing going. So you got to have some deep faith. That was my first testament where I really remember walking off, just being like, that just had nothing to do with me. That had nothing to do with me. So what we put with faith, Luke chapter 1, verse 37, and Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. What I would like you to do, there's a lot of information, so if you're taking notes, kind of jot down the chapter verses and chapters and all those good things, and then come back to it. So, for no word from God will ever fail, right? And then Hebrews, and without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Again, when you run into times of adversity in real relationships, which are going to happen because any real relationship we have is not going to just be rosy, sunshine, right? Like it's not just going to be great all the time if it's real relationship. Are we earnestly still seeking that relationship just like him? Are we in an adversity moment and we turn away, or are we earnestly seeking? I think that's practice in all relationships, because all relationships, there could be a bump in the road. There could be a block in the road. So are we going to run towards that relationship or run away from it? God tells us what? Run towards it, seek him earnestly, and we will build back together and be resilient with it. The next one, family. You heard me talk about my family a little bit, my family upbringing. They were amazing. Like I said, they were great. My uncles would get us, would put us in I didn't tell this one in the first service, but they would put us in the garage. We would have a net. I was like 4. My uncles would put me in a bunch of hockey equipment and then stick me in goal, and they'd shoot pucks at me. They're like 26, so they'd sit me in there, and I'd be going to town, like trying to get better, and they just call me a sieve the whole time. That was Tim Shovelday. If anybody remembers the goalie for the Red Wings, that was a sieve. That's my family. But again, those guys doing that, I knew what though? They were at every single game. They never missed anything we did. They would always have my back, and if I called them right now and I said, hey, we got to go paint the house, they said, just give me a weekend that we can do it. That's our family. So very blessed. Our teammates and the teammates that I grew closest with at LaSalle, I consider them family. The familial values that I learned in my own family got passed over to the team. And I learned this again with my own father. Like I said, I was with teams forever. It wasn't just about winning. How did we do it? And how did we act when we were doing it? So you are going to lose sometimes, and how are you acting when you are winning and losing? How we are doing those things, that is as extremely important, or as important to us as anything. And our familial values went into our teams, and I think our teams understood from our family how to act, the teamwork aspect of things, and how we do our business, which is very important. So, the one I really want to go to is Nehemiah. Then the Jews, for family, then the Jews who lived near them came and told us 10 times over, wherever you turn, they will attack us. Therefore, I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the wall at the exposed places, posting them by families with their swords, spears, and bows. Now, Brad helped me with this, okay? I was not as familiar with Nehemiah. Brad helped me with this, and I thought this was awesome, okay? So what's going on right now is that there's a crew, people are going to the siege, or there's an attack happening, right? And there wasn't a lot of walls. They were just building up walls, and this town was getting attacked. So Nehemiah said, okay, everyone's scared. Who wants to go get there? They have shooting arrows at us. Who wants to go down there? So what he did was he sent family members. Said, your family is going to go. And why? Because they fought harder for each other. That's why. Because they had something greater than themselves that they were fighting for. They were fighting for survival. They were fighting for togetherness. And they were fighting for the person next to them. Everything we want in our program, everything we want in our teams. Everything I hope that you want your relationship with God to look like. Willing to fight, willing to go out and fighting for something greater than ourselves. The next one, discipline. Like I said, I went from LaSalle, went to Michigan. Everybody wanted to know how I worked my way up at Michigan. My last couple of years, I was an offensive analyst for Coach Hoke. Like I said, when I got hired, I was 23. The next oldest guy on staff in my same job was 29. And he came right from the NFL. So I was the youngest guy by about 6 years to get one of those jobs at Michigan. So how? What happened? How'd you do it? Well, many days when all my friends were partying, I was going to work for free. When many days they were going to the bar at night, I was going to recruit. Many days that they were going to do something that would look like a lot of fun, and I would get a call, you got to go pick this person up at the airport. I went and did it. That pain of discipline at the time wasn't great. You know how many times that happened? I was so disappointed I wasn't able to go with the boys. I was so sad, right? However, the deep vision of what I wanted to do long term sorely outweighed that decision in the moment. So having great discipline in that moment has led us to the point that we are here today, leading teams. So with discipline, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Hey, Brad's a good coach, huh? He had this last week. You guys remember? Hey, but good coach, right? Coming up with his soccer team, all those good things. Had this last week. And again, no discipline feels good in the moment. In the moment. The long-term vision, the deep vision that could bear fruit, that is what we're looking for with our discipline. Last one, toughness. How does this come? All right, successes and failures. So failures obviously build toughness. You get scarred by that, right? Successes got to build toughness because everybody tells you how great you are after. So you got to stay tough when you're successful. Listen, one of the biggest sport moments of my life were in that state championship, okay? It's 2006 state championship, De La Salle versus Muskegon. Muskegon's coach, Tony Anise, who's winning all those national championships at Ferris State, that was Muskegon's team. They had a guy that went to USC, Southern California, all those good things, was fast, could really run, they were really good. We're down 2 with 30 seconds to go. I throw a slant to my buddy. He's going to run in, catches it. He's going to run in. There's the goal line right there. The guy from USC catches him. He goes to reach for it at the inch line. The ball drops off, rolls into the end zone. Muskegon jumps on it. We lose. I'm still here. I'm still coaching. We're still doing that was not fun. We're still here doing the thing. There's toughness. The last thing I ever did in high school was strike out. The last thing I ever did in a district championship game, that was a strikeout. I had all the successes to a state final, to a Final Four, #1 baseball team in the state. The last thing I ever did, ball came in, missed it, went back to the dugout crying because game was over at that point. Building toughness, still here. Grandma said what? Show up, go to work. That's what Grandma said. Show up, go to work. You'll be all right. Show up, go to work. Perfect attendance was a thing because we're resilient as we do it. We've earned toughness. So, Psalm 22:19, but you, Lord, do not be far from me. You are my strength. Come quickly to help me. I don't know. Our toughness, especially in leadership right now, is being tested on the day-to-day. Everybody is testing our toughness. all the time. I mean, to be a principal at a building right now, this day and age, you got to be a tough son of a gun. You better be tough. Because in leadership right now, everybody is a second guesser. Everybody is very difficult for people to get fully on board because they'd rather tear you down. They'd rather tell you what you aren't doing right than what you are doing right. It takes a certain level of toughness to be a leader and to be out there leading people, because anybody behind can say whatever they want. However, I know myself and I know Mr. Schrock, we both in those times don't handle it by ourselves. We handle it through relationships, and we handle it through the Lord and looking to the Lord. Our toughness comes from those experiences. However, we are not meant to do it alone, which we know. These are our pillars of our program, our foundational characteristics, and we seek to obtain these characteristics as a program, okay? This is how we do things, not just the result of the program. So, for us to be our best, there's a certain level of adaptation that must occur within our program. So what does that mean? Adjustment to environmental conditions that essentially makes you fit for survival. So there's adaptation that occurs. Okay, so like in our program, there's adaptation through faith, family, discipline, and toughness that occur. If our guys walk into our program, they could feel our family. Like the ninth graders could feel the way the guys talk. They could feel a toughness. They could feel those things as people are walking in. They are trying to then what? Adapt to their surroundings so they can survive in their surroundings. So in football, 40 years ago, nobody worked out 365 days a year, all day, every day. You know, people were working at the mill. People were working at the wherever. And then they would have 2-a-days because everybody was out of shape from working at the mill. So then they would have to come back. So we have already adapted ourselves to what football currently brings. We need to continue to adapt ourselves into the programs that we go into. Just like as Christians, shouldn't we be adapting to the lifestyle that God and Jesus are asking us to live? Adapting means I'm taking some of these things on. I'm taking some of these attributes. I'm taking on some of these characteristics that I'm striving to obtain, taking this on. That is what we want. We want people pulling in the same direction, pulling the rope, chopping the trees, any of the things that you hear from coaches. We want people to feel like they have a piece of the program and they are tugging at that program. They're pulling in the same direction because, again, in unison, we are strongest. So, practicing these characteristics, especially when we are pressed, our core pillars, especially we are pressed against stress, and I try and stress our guys out all the time, not just physically, but mentally. I try and give them mental challenges. I try and give them team building challenges. I try and give them physical challenges. And they'll all know when do most mistakes happen? When they're tired. So they all have to know we're going to get tired, and then we're going to perform our task to make sure that we know what it's like to perform our task where we're tired at practice. So then when we get into the environment in the game, we are not tired. We are ready to rock and roll. Same thing for us in our relationship with Christ. When we are pressed, we are squished, and we are fighting for survival, let's lean in to Him. This forms our standard. Us together, unison, gets all the pieces to understand that we are made for something greater. So, just like I talk to the kids, adaptation. Okay, as a coach, I have taken on adaptation things. I've taken on things from other coaches, from other books, and tried to apply it into my practices. So one of the guys that I've learned from, read the book, John Wooden, famous coach at UCLA, won 10 national championships, 7 in a row. Most people don't know, didn't win the first one at UCLA till year 16. However, took him a while to build it, understands what it means to truly build a team. John Wooden created this pyramid of success. Okay, how do we read this? So at the bottom are characteristics that most people can obtain. When you get to the top of a pyramid, less and less people are able to obtain the top of the pyramid characteristics. So John Wooden said, being your best when your best is required is the top of his pyramid, competitive greatness. Can you be your best when your best is absolutely required of you? That was that. Around it are words that obviously help inform, but he believed that as you go up, those are the hardest things to achieve. This book, I gotta tell you this quick story. This is pretty good. This book in John Wooden, I wouldn't have known about it if I wasn't working for free that day at Michigan. And they asked me to go pick up a coach at the airport, Frank Lenti, from Mount Carmel, Chicago, Illinois. Hall of Fame coach. Go to pick him up, called big gruff guy. Said, Coach, how you doing today? Take me to a Borders. First thing he said, I don't know if Borders is still open, sir. I think we got Barnes & Noble. I think that's what so okay, take me to a bookstore. Deal. Go to a bookstore, I pull up on the curb, he runs in, he comes out with a bunch of books. Throws this John Wooden book in my lap. Says, if you're serious about coaching, you'll read this more than once. So, and I've read it more than once, let me tell you, because I view myself serious at coaching, right? So I read it more than once. This man, what he was able to get out of teams, what he was able to build with his teams was truly incredible because what? We want to do it year in and year out. We want to do something that's sustainable. We want to do something that provides a long-term piece of success that the kids can take away. Championships are great, but when you're walking away from championships, they're still taking on the program's characteristics in their next walk of life. So, we've learned this. We've gone through this. We've talked about this as a group, as a football program. We talked about the pyramid. What we ended up doing for our team is how this was created was we had the 4 pillars. We had a bunch of guys taking on the 4 pillars, but we weren't able to see the sustainability level that we needed to get to. We weren't able to see how are we going to do this every year. Because everyone says, well, you're just one and done. Just one and done. Okay, you're never going to do it again, right? So we're trying to build it yearly. So here's what we did. We created the worship. Going into 2024, we got our leadership together, we got our captains together, and we said, this is us, USS Howell. How we do our deal, how the characteristics that are within the program lie within the people within the ship. Now, each ship has different people manning it year to year. The characteristics stay within that ship, and then we add on more as that team goes. So, our pillars lay within the players. Now we added our own identity. In 2024, our 3 words were trust, consistency, and discipline. Trust, consistency, and discipline. We build our worship, we build our ship from the iron keel up. The keel is the first thing built on a ship. That is the strongest thing, and it helps you go right through the waves. Our whole program is built off of trust. The hardest thing to obtain for right now, I'm telling you, for these kids right now, the way they get told that they should be doing this sport, that they're that good at this sport, that this person shouldn't be doing this, your coaches don't know anything. If you went to another school, they would know way more than that coach at that school. They got to trust the coaches. They got to trust each other. We have got to trust the kids on the field. That's how it goes. And how our program has looked the last couple of years, I think you can see the trust. I think you could see when we go out on the field and when we talk to each other and we communicate that there's a deeper level of love, trust, commitment, sacrifice, belief that goes into what we do. That's because we talk about the basis of our relationship, the basis of what we do being trust. We build our worship off of trust. What is our relationship with Christ built off of? I hope it's built off of trust. I hope it's built off of a firm foundation in which you can grow upon. Again, when we flip this, the triangle, the pyramid, the top's the hardest. We flipped it on its head. We said the hardest thing for these kids to do is trust the coaches. Trust each other. Trust what's going on. Now we're able to build up from the top down but from the bottom up. At the top of our ship, where everybody's standing, the most amount of attributes are for the people at the top. If you want to work hard, if you want to get into that next room, that engineering room, that mechanic room, that whatever room you want to go into, the deeper level of trust must occur. Is that what our foundation is like with Christ? We want to rely on our firm foundation when waves are hitting and the weather is crazy. We want to rely on our firm foundation. Is that the same? Luke chapter 16, verse 10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. And that's the truth. The trust is what everything is built off for us. Trust is what we do. So, lastly, find your mission. Find your mission. Serve, sacrifice, believe, whatever your mission is. In the USS Howell, every year we launch a new one. Different players, different personalities, different challenges. Every year we start in the same place. Trust. Trust is strong, we can weather the storms. Trust is strong, we can overcome adversity. Trust is strong, we can accomplish things that no individual could ever accomplish alone. The beautiful thing is, it's not just true in football, but it's true in life. It's true in your family. It's true in faith. God never intended us to walk alone. We were made for more. He created us to belong to something bigger than ourselves. As we learn in Ecclesiastes, 3 strands are strongest together. The greatest teams I've ever been around weren't defined by talent, weren't defined by just trust. They're the greatest people I've ever been around. They focused on the greater good, not just themselves. They focused on serving and sacrificing and pouring themselves into others. When you leave our program, and hopefully when you leave Agape, you understand that you're made for more, that your puzzle piece fits in to a bigger picture. Keep chiseling it and fit it in so that thing fits perfect. Find a mission worth serving. Find people worth trusting. When you do, you'll discover what every great team eventually learns. Life becomes far more meaningful when it's about something bigger than you. Thank you.